So without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker of the day, who is S.Y. Lee, the founder and CEO of Story, also Giga Chad. He is the coolest guy around, and he has been working in IP for over a decade with the sole mission of empowering creators. He originally started founding a startup called Byline. This was a journalism crowdsourcing platform to give the power back to creators. Giants like Facebook and Google were sort of breaking the business model for journalists and not allowing them to earn on ad revenue. And so after working in that for a while, he pivoted to Radish Fiction. This was a company that he sold for $500 million, and it's an incredible. This was a mobile serialized fiction app that allowed storytellers, similar to the journalist thesis, where they could connect better with their fans and they could sell sort of these serialized chapters directly to their fans. And after selling the company, he actually was thinking about, okay, I haven't truly solved the IP issue, and this is how we get into Story. And so today he's going to give you, of course, some of his background, but also tell you how his mission of empowering creators has transitioned into Story and what that vision looks like. So I'm so proud to bring onto the stage S.Y. Lee, the founder and CEO of Story.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you. By the way, he's only 23. He's so smooth and on the stage. So I thank you, Jacob, for opening. So welcome everyone to the Origin Summit. My name is S.Y. Lee. I'm the CEO and founder of Story Protocol. We are a intellectual property focused blockchain for the age of AI. Before I go on to my presentation about why Story, why the Origin Summit, why Korea, I really want to thank my collaborators for this summit. So first, we're not doing this alone. We're doing this with Blockworks. Blockworks is the #1 crypto media in the US, and it's the first time they actually are doing an event together with another organization in Asia, right? And many of you may not have heard of Blockworks, but it's a very critical organization bridging institutions and government to the crypto industry. So much so that actually the sitting president, President Donald Trump, he actually addressed the crypto industry for the first time after he got elected on the Blockworks stage. So, and secondly, we also are collaborating this with Hankyung Media Group, which is the largest financial media group in Korea. So thank you, Hankyung. So, and I'm very, very honored to have this Origin Summit welcoming so many guests around the world and also from Korea in my home country, hometown, Seoul, South Korea. So we Koreans are historically first in many things, and especially in technology, right? For the internet, we actually came up with the first MMORPG game called Kingdom of the Wind, 바람의 나라, right? For many years, we are also first top fastest internet country for many, many years, almost over a decade, right? So we are very, very internet savvy, and this is actually going into being incredibly AI native. We are the second highest, we have the second highest number of paid users for ChatGPT, right? Everyone has this, incredible urge to be ahead in the usage of AI, and that actually also reflects in our usage of AI in the workforce, which we're twice at the level of the US. So Koreans, we adopt technology so quickly for the internet, for the AI, and I think for the AI race, we may not have come up with ChatGPT, we may not have come up with Gemini, but I think the next phase of AI is physical AI, the robotics, right? The AI in the real world. Hyundai just bought Boston Dynamics, and we have the highest density of robots per capita in the world. And I think with all the manufacturing companies we have, we may not have the ChatGPT, but we may have the best robotics model going forward. So we are incredibly AI native country on top of being the first internet native country. But many of you are here because for the we are in the Korea Blockchain Week. This is the Korea Blockchain Week this week. And Korea is incredibly crypto native. I mean, not many countries, if I'm in the New York subway, I don't hear, my grandma and grandpa talk about crypto. But in Korea, you hear about your grandma and grandpa talk about crypto. I have several employees whose parents are trading Tron, Cardano, Ripple, right? So Korea actually, shockingly, for some bull markets, period, actually goes above the trading volume of entire US dollar. KRW is just being traded just by Korea, right? US dollar across the globe, but one single country is spot trading volume is bigger than the rest of the entire USD. So it's kind of crazy. So look at this. First quarter of last year, according to Kaiko and Bloomberg, Korea traded 456 billion. US dollar, 445 billion. So, there's an incredible excitement, passion, urge, and kind of owning crypto in Korea. And this is not just a few quarter, phenomenon. Korea is in the global fiat market consistently top two, trading market in crypto, right? So we are incredibly crypto forward, right? And some may say actually, Koreans are speculating, they're gambling, they're not actually using the blockchain. So, but with this new government, we're seeing a huge adoption, a huge push towards adopting stablecoin. And it's not just the government. Everyone from Samsung to Coupang to Kakao, Naver, they're getting into to the race for stablecoin adoption. And this means that all these stablecoin will eventually be running on chains like Ethereum, Tron, or for IP and gaming, companies like Story. And that basically brings so many users onto the blockchain. So soon there could be a world in 4 or 5, 3 years that the entire South Korean economy will be primarily running on the blockchain. So, but with this backdrop of incredibly being forward in crypto and AI, but for most of the guests around the world who are coming to Korea, who are thinking about Korea, the first thing that they can think about is actually not crypto, not AI, not the internet. It's really about IP, right? We are the number one global powerhouse in IP, and look at all these IPs here. Number one Netflix movie in history, K-pop Demon Hunter. So we actually had Maggie Kang as the opening speaker yesterday for the VIP guests. We have the number one series in Netflix, Squid Game. We also have the number one YouTube video in history, Baby Shark. So the founder of Baby Shark is also talking in our summit. And we have the number one boy band in the last 2 decades, number one girl band in the last 2 decades. And Parasite was picked as the number one movie in the last century by New York Times. So we have incredible array of IPs. And, if you grab anyone in Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, America, Latin America, they'll say, Korea, I know it for K-pop. I know it for Squid Game. I know it for K-pop Demon Hunter. But I've been working at the intersection of IP and content, IP and tech, IP and technology. And always my kind of biggest focus was, how do you solve the problem of content monetization, content business models, when there's a new technology coming into the fold? So for instance, the first company that I built, called Byline, was responding to the fact that actually journalism was in deep crisis with advertising model being broken down by big tech like Google, Facebook. And then how do you actually monetize journalism in that day? So we were trying to use crowdfunding business model to help our journalists. The last business, Radish, was an attempt to solve publishing in the age of mobile, right? No one was reading fiction books because of mobile. but mobile technology. So how do you have a bite-sized episodic content being monetized on mobile phones? But I see actually for this day and age, for IP, intellectual property, much bigger, deeper systemic crisis. Korea's number two export, and actually is, IP. But we have a very deep crisis with IP, right? If you think about how content creators get funded, everyone's just relying on big streaming platforms. So the Squid Game writer, Hwang Dong-hyuk, he actually made only at max millions, they say. All the IP went to Netflix. They brought billions of dollars to Netflix. So many subscribed to Netflix. But the IP holder were left kind of pretty poor, right? They can only rely on this big streaming platform. Netflix is actually now killing so many studios. So there's only Netflix to go to raise funding for your content. And AI, why does ChatGPT have this incredible output? Why does actually Gemini have this incredible output? Because they've trained on your IP, but no one's compensating you for your IP. They use your data, they use your IP, but what's happening? How do you sustain the economics of content when AI is taking all your content to train on it, but don't compensate? So this is a massive issue. And this is, I think the problems is summarizable in two manners. One is the fact that actually IP is still a very, very deeply illiquid asset class. So you cannot raise funding, you cannot invest into IP in the same way you do for crypto tokens, in the same way that you actually do for stocks. So there's only a limited way to raise financing for IP. And also, IP is still in the world of old copyright law, pen and paper, lawyers, agents. And what happens is, even if you want to license these IPs, you have to go through so many legal paperworks, right? Imagine if you're ChatGPT, I want to license your IP. How are you going to talk to million IP owners to license the IP, right? That's just not practical. So this is where actually story comes in. We're not saying we're going to solve all the problems, but we have very good solutions to these problems. We are building a new updated intellectual property infrastructure for this age of AI. And how do we do this? We have two ways. First is we tokenize intellectual property. What do we mean by this? We actually turn IP into a liquid asset class like cryptocurrency. And I want to give you an example with a product that we have, an ecosystem application that we have called Aria, which also just raised $15 million funding, led by Polychain Capital. And we have already 50 songs actually tokenized, from Justin Bieber's Peaches to Blackpink's Ready for Love. And what actually these songs, owning these iconic songs give you, is like owning a prime real estate in Manhattan. You get 7 to 12% yields every year. There's going to be more and more streamers coming to the music streaming service in the next 10 to 20 years. So you're getting more and more yields and appreciation of your asset over time. And not only that, we really care about early participants to the platform. We actually gave more intellectual property incentives, right? IP token incentives. So actually people who went in and bought these songs in the early days are getting as much as up to 70% annual yield for investing into these songs. So now any songwriters, any producers can actually liquidate and actually give access to their song catalogs, financial upside by putting this on the blockchain, allowing folks around the world to invest their stable coin, right? And then secondly, we're not just about turning IP into a financial asset class. We're also about programming the IP. What do we mean by programming to the IP? The best analogy I can give is that we're turning IP into a Lego block. The beauty of a Lego block is that you can use that ingredient for anything you want to make another fully fledged creation. And the reason why this is Lego block is that every single terms of the IP, royalty sharing terms, licensing terms, jurisdiction, all these details are now programmed into the IP with the legally enforceable contract under US copyright law. So now, if you're OpenAI, I want to have my creators, my fans, or my users create Studio Ghibli style IP. Now, Studio Ghibli has licensing and royalty sharing terms of how, when people commercialize their Studio Ghibli style remixes, they should be compensated. And all these are done in a smart contract, automated, royalty sharing way at the back end through our technology. So every IP terms are now programmed to the IP, so now anyone can use your IP like a Lego piece without talking to lawyers. And I want to give you an example. First, with Verse8, we have the founder of Verse8 here, and it's being actually also advised by the founder of Lineage, Song Jae-kyung, who's like a legend in gaming. And what Verse8 does is actually turns all these IP licensed Legos into games within minutes. So, this is an example with Azuki, which is a famous anime IP. With that one image, now you can create a 3D character, right? So this is just one image. Now you're getting a 3D characters within minutes for the IP. And now you can create a very immersive IP game, base game, within minutes. And it's not just one game, many different types of game. So now you can imagine a world, let's say K-pop Demon Hunter puts their IP onto Story. Through Verse8, an ecosystem application on top of Story, you can have fans create tens of thousands of games and actually monetize. And K-pop Demon Hunter creator is getting the upside seamlessly through the IP blockchain, right? So, same with Moonbirds, which is another big IP in crypto. So all these games, now every single person on the planet can be a game creator using some other people's game IPs. And same with, it's not just also every one of us being a expert level game creator with using other people's IPs as inspiration, but also we see a world where, anyone can be a fashion designer. Right? So Ablo is an app where they have a licensed IPs from Smiley to Adidas and Balmain. And the incredible thing about it is, now you can use the official Smiley IP to create your design very, very easily through AI. You can print your t-shirt, you can share that IP on your social, and then actually, you can share the upside with the Smiley IP. And you can also make your own money, right? Which is incredible. And it's not just Smiley, but many different types of other fashion IPs are actually being built on, being licensed on top of Story through Ablo, right? Balmain is another example. It's a special Balmain shoes design. Now anyone can actually remix the IP very, very seamlessly, right? So yeah, and Crocs is also on top of Ablo. So now, I've shown you this incredible world of IP Legoland being created by Story's programmable intellectual property layer. But these are very fun IP, entertainment, fashion, creative. But IP is so much bigger than just entertainment, right? It is your AI training data set. It's your audio, voice. It's your real world video footage data that could be used for AI. That's also IP. Your data is your IP. Biomedical patents, that's also an IP. All these brand trademarks, those are IPs. It's an $80 trillion asset class. And Story recently, has focused on also going into this real world data because if you think about the three battlefields of AI, first is the model layer. But, to be honest, OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, At most, it's a 2-month difference. It's very, very commoditized. Compute, semiconductor, it's a table stakes. It's really monopolized by NVIDIA. The real mode is now in data and IP. If you think about it, for the world of robotics, even if you are Tesla Optimus team, even if you crawl the entire YouTube data, you cannot have a robot hold a coffee cup, or you cannot have a robot hold a mic like this. Because you need an incredible amount of egocentric video footage data that helps you, train the robot to hold a microphone. You need so many different lighting settings, so many different physical environments. Having this, glass is also a new variable, right? So you need an incredible amount of data to train the next generation of AI model, especially in the physical AI world. So now Story is not just about music, fashion, sports. We're also focusing on real-world data. Data, your voice, the video footage that could go into robots that could serve these kind of customers, right? So we recently launched Poseidon, which is a scale AI, which is a data layer that uses actually crypto incentives to cross-source IP. If you're scale AI, if you are this previous generation of data collection model, they just collect data and label data by employing just a bunch of workers in Southeast Asian countries at a low cost in a digital sweatshop manner in an incredibly inefficient way. But Story, what we do is we have gamified applications where anyone can actually upload your voice, upload your video footage, upload real-world data from anywhere around the world, and you get settled instantly in stablecoin, IP token, Poseidon points, and actually get compensated. We're using crypto incentives to bootstrap data collection, and we launched our first Poseidon app. Some of you who are attending the conference will get actually airdrops for these points. Very recently, anyone can upload your voice, right? Here, right? And this is incredible, what we've been doing Poseidon. Now, 800,000 submissions a day is happening, 70,000 daily active contributors. So many folks, like if you try to do this with Scale AI, signing 70,000 contracts, it's just not scalable. We actually scale AI, right? Type technology, by actually processing this data submission, data uploading instantly, globally, at a global scale. And then now we have 5.5 million submissions, 34,000 hours, 400,000 contributors. Actually now, the real world data is more than half of our IP being uploaded every single day on the IP blockchain, which is incredible. And all these IPs, all these real world data that you and so there are a lot of Korean contributors as well, Chinese contributors, Russian, Hindi contributors. It's all going to get licensed to top AI model companies, which is incredible, right? And it's not just Poseidon. We have so many different types of apps with millions of users. It's a movement. It's 100 plus apps that has raised more than $100 million to actually fuel the future of IP, right? We're not building this alone. You're going to be hearing from some of the ecosystem applications as well, like Poseidon later today. And for this Origin Summit, I'm incredibly excited to share that, we're going to scale this technology, scale this movement to various Korean IPs, right? You see some of the most iconic IPs on this screen here. First is actually Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling is the biggest webtoon in history by revenue. Solo Leveling is the biggest anime in history from Crunchyroll. It's above One Piece in Crunchyroll. It's above all these other top animes you've heard of. It's an incredibly big IP that's homegrown from Korea, now going to be made into Netflix live action series. I think it's going to be, competing with the likes of, Squid Game for its, top kind of viewership. And Solo Leveling is now going to put their IP on Story Chain. They're going to RWA tokenize the IP. They're going to be also exploring ways to turn their IP into an IP Lego piece so that anyone can remix on top of this. But more excitingly, they're going very crypto native. They're actually also going to plan on launching IP-backed meme coin on top of Story. Like how President Donald Trump launches meme coin endorsed by his IP. Solo Leveling will actually also, bootstrap fandom, on the crypto kind of the sphere by actually launching an IP-backed meme coin, right? So this is going to be coming in the next coming month. We'll have more news to share with working with Solo Leveling with various ecosystem applications, IP-backed meme coin, RWA tokenization, which is very exciting. And Bar and Zone is the company behind Parasite, Train to Busan, a lot of the type IPs, and they also have a very, very big content fund supporting movie creators, film creators in Korea. They are launching a remix shorts app utilizing some of their top IPs so that anyone can create IPs on top of blockchain being inspired by these IPs. And we're also going to explore ways to have a tokenized content fund backing creators together in Korea and globally. So very excited to have Barnstone as a partner. And Aria is also getting into a strategic partnership with Content Technology. Content Technology is a pioneer in music fund management in Asia. They have so many type of IPs being managed as a fund at the moment. They have this fund called Beyond Music, and they're also now managing labels. They're bringing about $100 million of catalog onto Aria. Aria has been having an exciting momentum with $50 million funding and actually $100 million of TVL coming in through from Content Technology. So we now have everything from Blackpink to BTS, and a trust singer like An Sung-hoon, which is very, very exciting, right? And we have this founder of Baby Shark now speaking soon. Not just Solo Leveling. On our IP-backed meme coin launchpad, IP.world, Ping Fong is going to launch their first, ever Ping Fong token. And unlike other kind of meme coin launchpad like Pump.fun, which doesn't actually compensate the creators, everything from Pepe to Doge, all these meme coins, to Chill Guy, they completely ignore the IP owners. Here in IP.world, the creator, if they actually log into their social media accounts, they can claim their fair share of tokens for the meme coin, and also they're going to be getting 50% of the trading commission of that token. So, and Ping Fong will be having exciting kind of community bootstrapping mechanism with this meme coin as well, so which is really exciting. And I think the last, but most importantly, I think what Story is doing now in the Korean ecosystem is that we are now investing into the core infrastructure of tokenization in Korea, right? Korea has a handful of crypto licenses. Korea is, like Upbit to Bithumb to CoinOne. Only a handful of people get government-regulated licenses. Only also, at the moment, 2 are up for getting an RWA license for RWA exchanges. One is Upbit and Naver's Stock Plus. The other is the Sol Exchange. We got into a strategic partnership with Sol Exchange to have Sol Exchange exclusively running on Story blockchain. And Story Exchange is one of the 2 likely to be licensed RWA exchange in Korea. And now Koreans can legally trade IP assets like maybe Solo Leveling, maybe like, this royalty stream of Parasite, and so on and so forth, on top of Sol Exchange on Story Chain. And the exciting thing is that the founder of Sol Exchange really believes the next big unlock for RWA is IP. So that's why he's putting his exchange exclusive on Story for the next 3 years, which is exciting. And we have more and more AI partnerships coming soon from Poseidon team. We have incredible data sets being built on top of Story. So tune in for all the exciting things coming from Poseidon. But I just want to zoom out quickly. Why are we doing this conference? right? Korea, and then why are we doing this conference here in Korea? Korea, as I told you, is the most IP native country, AI native country, crypto native country, right? And that intersection of IP, AI, and crypto, IP is what touches everyone every day. It's the culture. It's what you perceive every single moment. And how they intersect with AI, how they intersect with tokenization is going to be the most incredibly important topic, especially in Korea, but also across the globe. And we wanted to hold this conference. And here, everything starts from IP. Everything originates from IP, right? And we wanted to bring the who's who of Korean IP, the creators of K-pop Demon Hunter, to, the CEOs of companies behind Blackpink and BTS, to Baby Shark, all these folks in one stage with the top names of crypto, like Justin Sun, to Arthur Hayes, to Guy Young, to Yas-Yu, and also incredible people who's been thinking at the intersection of IP and crypto and AI, like Sirwan, right? So really, I know my speech ran on much longer than expected, but welcome to Origin Summit. Enjoy the rest of the programming, and thank you so much for joining the conference. Thank you.